Well, Hillary Clinton is facing her own controversy. On the eve of the second presidential debate yesterday, WikiLeaks released more than 2,000 emails. They claim they came from her campaign chairman, John Podesta, and other staffers. The leak revealed transcripts from some of Clinton's paid Wall Street speeches. Our Justice reporter Paula Reed is tracking the story and joins us from Washington. Okay, Paula, this didn't get nearly enough attention yesterday because of the Trump tapes. So what was in these leaked emails?
You're right, Rena. On any other day, this would have been the biggest story on the campaign trail because this is the first time that we're actually getting a look at these Wall Street speeches. Of course, there have been calls for her to release transcripts of these speeches for well over a year now from her opponents and from major media organizations. But here, after reading through these WikiLeaks documents, what you see is that her own words really hit on her own perceived weaknesses, particularly around relatability and trust. For example, she told one Wall Street group that while she grew up in a very middle-class household, she's now far removed from it. I mean, she's rich, right? That's true. But you can see why she was maybe reluctant to release these, especially as she tries to appeal to Bernie Sanders supporters. In another speech, she talks about how the electorate sometimes gets a little nervous when they hear about backroom deals or any compromises. So she says, and I quote, "Politicians need both a public and a private position to appease voters." So you see why she really wasn't in a hurry to release these, as again, it really highlights a lot of concerns that voters have about her.
So there were the WikiLeaks emails that were released, and then there was a separate batch of emails that the State Department also released, new Clinton emails that were actually recovered from the FBI. What was in those emails?
That's right. So the FBI, during its investigation into whether or not classified information was mishandled when she chose to use a private server, they found over 15,000 emails that had never been released. But the FBI didn't know if these were emails that should have been withheld, if they were private documents, or if they were public records. So they handed them over to the State Department. They said, hey, look, we found these. You should look through them and see if there's anything that should have been released. So over the next few weeks, the State Department is releasing any emails that should have been released in the past during other lawsuits, Freedom of Information Act requests seeking these documents. And so far, they've released around maybe 100 different documents, but none of them are really any bombshells. It's mostly things that have already been released with a few extra words like please print or something like that on it. So far, the most interesting email release we've seen in this campaign cycle has been these Podesta emails. This is new, this is different, and this is something that could impact the minds of voters.
Paula Reed, thanks for putting this all into context for us, Paula.